I'm with Lori Hoye, and your husband has been in the jail now for how many days?
Wow, I can't do math, and that's pretty bad.
Thursday, Friday.
20th. Today is the 5th. So 31, it's 12 days, 16 days?
Yeah, so it's going on a couple weeks. But he gets out on the 20th or something like that, right?
Well, actually, he could get out as early as the 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, so the 8th or 9th this month. So actually, like next Wednesday or Thursday, he could actually.
There we go. And for those who are living in a hole, what has happened and why is Walter in jail?
Well, Walter committed the heinous crime of standing on a public sidewalk holding a sign that says, "Jesus loves you and your baby. Let us help you." He had literature in his hand, and when women approached the abortion clinic, he would ask them, "May I talk to you about alternatives to the clinic?"
So he was basically trying to help women. He wasn't attacking them with knives or anything like that. And in his hat, you have one of those handy here somewhere. There we go. His hat had, to be sarcastic, some brutal attack message on it.
Got Jesus.
Got Jesus.
Yes.
Isn't that something?
That's a sign.
And picked up for standing in front. Now, I've been talking to the attorneys about this, and Katie and others have been saying that the nuances on this crime are kind of difficult because it's actually so simplistic. I mean, there was no victim, right?
Correct. There was no woman that said, "This man walked up to me without my permission. This man tried to give me any information. He talked to me." There's no victim. There's no woman anywhere that said, "This man harassed me," or "This man unlawfully approached me." It's the people that run the clinic that are saying, "He got close to women." They've even fabricated stories that women went, "No." And, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But it's really just them. They don't want Walter on the sidewalk because the women will hear him and think about what they're doing and possibly, and some have, turned and walk away and save the life of their child. And that costs them anywhere between $400 and $1,300 every time somebody turns around and goes away. And this particular clinic in Oakland makes almost $3 million a year on abortion. So you're talking between $60,000 and $150,000 a week.
Wow.
Just killing unborn babies.
So you got somebody out there that's kind of stopping business from happening and didn't make them too happy. So, okay, so then they do a complaint. They file a complaint. Officer shows up. Arrests Walter. No.
Well, no. Initially, I mean, the officers, the police in Oakland have a whole lot more serious crimes to deal with than a man standing on the sidewalk,
That's what I was wondering.
peacefully standing on the sidewalk, offering help to women. And initially, before this ordinance passed, the police would even come and coach Walter. They would say, "Hey, people drive up, you have to give them, this much space, enough so they can open the door and get out, take a step, and then you can talk to him. But you're on the public sidewalk, So privacy on the public sidewalk is the biggest oxymoron in the world because it's the public sidewalk.
Right.
The world walks by. There's no such thing. There's no bubble around you that says nobody can talk to you. But the city of Oakland tried to put a bubble around people so that only pro-life people can't talk to them. If you're pro-death and you want to escort them into the clinic to kill their child, you can walk up to them, you can lock arms with them, you can sing your favorite song, and you can look at any brochure, magazine, whatever it is you want. There's no restrictions on you. But if you want to save two lives, the mother and the baby, you have to stay 8 feet away. You have to yell to get somebody's attention. When you're trying to respect somebody's privacy, you have to go through all these hoops that no one else has to go through. So it's ridiculously unjust.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, in this particular case, now that Planned Parenthood is basically, I hate to say the word won, but essentially they can walk away from this.
Right.
They don't care anymore because they've won in their eyes.
Right.
Now the city of Oakland has this
they have
on their hands that they have to deal with. It's not Planned Parenthood anymore. They're out of the picture, right?
Well, Family Planning Services is the clinic in Oakland. They actually have 3 locations. Isn't that interesting? But they only are trying to protect 200 Webster. They don't. They have told us on many occasions, they have offered Walter on many occasions, you can go anywhere else in this city. Just don't go back to this one. And that, to me, raises a red flag. It says, why is this one place so important? You know, this place generates the most money. This place is taking the most lives. This is the place where we need to be. If the other people are not that effective, then fine, leave them alone. We need to be here more than we need to be anywhere else. We need to be at the rest of them, but we need to be here. But it's still, it's on the city to, I guess, reverse themselves, because this is a serious breach of your First Amendment constitutional rights.
Absolutely.
One group of people can stand on the sidewalk and do whatever they want to do, but the other group of people can't stand on the sidewalk and do anything. I mean, it's going back to Jim Crow. You have Caucasian women on the sidewalk who can get in a man's face and walk all over him, and he can't do anything about it. But if he tries to speak up and say, "May I talk to you?" he's arrested, he's taken off the sidewalk. You know, how crazy is that? You have an African-American man on a public sidewalk, a minister, a man of God, who cannot speak to another human being to save a life. That is, insane. I would never have thought I would see that in the United States of America, but considering what's going on in the government as a whole, this is kind of indicative of where we are in America with our rights as individuals. And if we don't stand up and scream as loud as we possibly can, you don't know who's next. It's kind of like, there's a poem, I think my husband has this Jewish book, but it's a gentleman who's talking about Nazi Germany. And he said, first they came for the Protestants, and I wasn't Protestant, so I didn't care. And then they came for the socialists, and I wasn't a socialist, and I didn't care. And then they came for the Jews, and I wasn't a Jew, and I didn't care. He said, and then they came for me, and there was no one to help me. It's just a matter of when it's your turn. When is what your message is becomes unpopular. When is what it is you want to say on the sidewalk not deemed politically correct or astute or whatever term you want to use. It's just it's a slippery slope, and it's they started with pro-life, and who knows where they go next.
Well, freedom of speech is a valuable thing. It's something that we have to protect. And let's see, we've got one more minute.
Okay.
So, like I was saying, freedom of speech is a valuable thing. We've got to protect it. We've got to stand up for it. We have to do what's necessary. And for the folks out there who are watching, how can they hear more about what's going on with Walter? How can they help? How do they get involved?
Wow. How can they hear more? I guess there are so many websites. I couldn't even begin to point you to them. But
ProLifeUnity.com for one.
ProLifeUnity.com, yes. There's another, my mind is
Issues for Life.
Issues for Life. Issuesforlife.org. There's blackgenocide.org. I mean, Cure. There's a whole lot of places you can go and look. But the biggest thing that you need to do is find out where the abortion clinic is in your community. And even if you just go and stand across the street, see who's going in there. Your community is being decimated, and you don't know it. These people are in neighborhoods, they're in nondescript office buildings. I mean, unless you actually know they're there, you don't know they're there. So find out what's there, find out what the ordinances are in your city, and go and just stand on the sidewalk and see what happens, especially if you're African American. Go stand in front of the place, even if you don't do anything but stand still. Watch and see, check your watch, see how long it takes before police show up to ask you questions about what you're doing on the sidewalk, because we're the target. And so until we stand up and do something about it, the rest of the world is, it's just not going to show up. And I take that back, though. The Catholic community has been there for a decade. The Caucasian Catholic community, we owe them an apology for being so late to the game. They have been there, and they are still there. And it's time for us to, ante up and kick in.
Yeah, well, I'm not Catholic yet, so I say yet. Yeah, that's because y'all Catholics keep challenging me, like, you're going to be there someday. But I have to say that this is a serious issue. We have to do it. We have to get involved. Yeah, we do. And we're at a dinner tonight, and I stood up, and in my frustration, I said, we're not winning this war. We're losing this war. Every day, 4,000 more people are going to die. We've got to do everything we can. It's up to us, right?
That's true. It's up to us, because no one can speak for the unborn cannot speak for themselves. And so if we don't speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, then who will? I mean, it's the same thing that, we've gone through the civil rights movement. We've gone through, with the Holocaust in Germany, no one spoke up. And those that did speak up, suffered horribly. And you cannot be afraid to suffer for doing what's right. because if you are, then the enemy's got you. As long as they know, all I have to do is push them to this line, and then they'll go away. They'll push you to that line and beyond because they expect you to go away. Don't have a line that they can push you to. Stand up for what's right, and there's no better time than today to do it.
Great. Thank you, Lori. Say hi to Walter for me if I don't see him.
I will.
I hope I do. And for those of you out there watching this, Issues for Life, issues4life.org. Find out more about that. And of course, prolifeunity.com. It's up to us. If we don't get involved, nobody else is going to defend the defenseless. They don't have a voice. They only have us.